Welcome again to Life Alive Bible Study, where the word comes alive and it breathes new life. I hope you all getting this. I hope you enjoying this. I am so far. I want to say thank you for all of those of you that have been watching it live, and then those who have been watching the replay over and over again. Continue to tell people, continue to, as a matter of fact, right now, like, share, follow. If this is your first time, I'm D. Foster III, CEO and president of Wake Up Global Networks International, and we are so glad to have, excuse me, and invite you in. I want you to take a few minutes to go to our website when you get the opportunity, not now, when you get the opportunity. It's www.wakeupglobalnetworks.com, www.wakeupglobalnetworks.com. And of course, follow us on all of our social media pages and right here on Wake Up Global TV, where we have some of the best content. And guess what? We have more content creators on the way. So I want to say thank you. In the beginning, like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. The announcements, all of our connections are right here on the screen. Don't you love it? I appreciate it so very, very much. And you can find us wherever we are. And of course, wait a minute, hold up, y'all. When it's live, you can't, it's pollen. Excuse me. It's been, that's why I've been hoping that we got some rain. But anyway, so make sure you go to the website. Make sure you follow us on social media. We have more content creators on the way, and I'm so excited about what God has given us in the scope of Wake Up. Did you file your taxes? Did you file? You know what? I have to say this while you are coming in, while you are sharing, while you are liking. Let me give some small talk, real quick. This is probably the first year in out of 30 that I did not file for an extension. No, I did not file for an extension, and it is the smallest refund that I ever had. So I think next year I'll file. I'll file for the extension and let my accounting work out all of the details. But for Wake Up Global Networks, we did the proper filing and working with our accountant and everything. But for me personally, I was like, you know what? I'm so busy. I don't have time to go and do all of this, pull out all these receipts. So just let me do a blank filing. I'll never do that again, right? But anyway, so did you file your taxes? If not, I hope you file for an extension. But did you share? Here, hit the hype button. Hit the hype button before we get started tonight. And again, I want to say welcome. If this is your first time, welcome, a brand new welcome. And if you would love to be a part of our mailing list, that information will be on the screen or on our website, who you can contact, because we would love to keep up with you. Again, I am so, what is this, week 3 or week 4, week 3? And I am so excited about all of the new followers and all of those of you that are viewing, and continue to share. And we will continue to believe Spirit to bring you the best content, the best quality of information on all of our platforms, but especially here on Thursday nights. The word comes alive and it breathes new life. Now, Father, we thank you for your presence, and we thank you for the connection, the covenant connection that we share with our extended family. We thank you for those who view and watch the replay. We thank you for speaking individually, but speaking corporately. We receive what you have for us. There are people tonight at the crossroads. There are people tonight who are in the greatest flux of change in their life. I just feel this by the Spirit. And I pray and decree that when they would leave on this next 30 to 40 minutes, that they will have clarity. I speak clarity in the atmosphere. In Jesus' name. And I particularly tonight want to speak to those who are in this flux. We all are, but some are in a maze. Some of us have clarity. Some of us have a sense of direction. But tonight, I want to clue into those of you who you say, listen, I don't have a clue. I know things are changing. I know things are shifting, but I don't have a clue. I believe that the Spirit tonight will give you, among all of us, that clarity and that sense of direction that you need to take the next step. You in agreement with me? You in agreement? Or even if you're watching the replay, because this message was born out of a shift. This whole title, matter of fact, if you go back to part intro, this whole study was born out of a shift, was born out of a maze, was born out of trying to get clarity on what God wanted me to do next. And so I understand because everything is shifting, and that's what we've based this on. Now, again, I love it because we stream now, and streaming is going to become more and more popular. I have prophesied for about a year or so that mainstream, and I don't want to get into this because you know me, I'll go down a rabbit hole prophetically and keep going. Mainstream television is pretty much over, in that the streaming populace has arisen. And I love it because you can watch it at your convenience. You can watch it at your choice. You're not dictated to. So I don't go over, just if you're new, I don't recap. I encourage you to get the whole content by going back to previous episodes. So that brings us up so we can keep it moving and not bore the people, not bore y'all that's been here. Because, you know, y'all will get bored real quick. Say, oh, I heard that, and turn me off and go find another one. No, it ain't happening on my watch. So for all of the newcomers, I invite you to graciously go back and view what we have covered this far. All right. Now, let me move here. So last week we talked about recognizing the shift last week. And every week, the broad topic is that great opportunities often precede great leaps of faith. So that's the whole topic. But every week, I've been kind of biting it off into edible chunks. And so we talked about when God makes you uncomfortable the first week. Then we talked about noticing or recognizing the shift last week. And tonight, I want to move into destiny versus comfort, because there is a difference between destiny and comfort, right? So let me start off, because I've been led to use the archetype of the children of Israel in Egypt, coming out of Egypt, and more importantly, focus on what they missed and what was going on while they were in Egypt, and how they really didn't recognize that things were shifting from the way they were when they first entered, and using that as an object lesson for us, that their journey was unnecessary. And I'll get to that probably next week. But when we fail to recognize the changes, I want you to hear this, it will bring many times unnecessary hardships. Not all the time, but when we fail to recognize changes, the shift has happened. It will many times bring unnecessary hardships. And this is where they were. They were encountering unnecessary hardships once they begin to move forward. So we'll get to that. But tonight, I just want to read a brief passage in Exodus. I'm going to leave it there because it's going to play a very important role before we end. Did you like this? And you'll hear me say that often because that's the world we live in, algorithm world. Did you share this? Did you put this link in your contact? Did you hit the hype button? All of that is very important to us. It's very important to this platform. And those of you that are content creators, you understand that. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification so you know when we upload brand new content, especially my series on Jaden Ivey. I got so many things coming up, but you want to go back and watch that. And you people have been watching that. Part 2 is dropped. Part 3 is soon. But the disappearance of this young content creator that went to, I believe, Zimbabwe or somewhere in Africa and ended up, not existing. I have to say certain things for YouTube. Not existing. That's why you need to go to Patreon, because I don't have to watch my words like that. But I'm going to do a video on that very soon, because there's some important details and spiritual lessons in that unfortunate story. But Exodus for tonight. Exodus, chapter number 1, verse 6 and 7. Now, I want you to get this. I don't want you to hear it as a Bible study. I don't want you to hear it as I already know this. I'm emphasizing something when it comes to where we are collectively and where you and I are as individuals. We are probably in one of the greatest shifts in our life and as a nation and a world in our time. Okay? Something old is dying, if you're aware, and something new is being born. And nothing and nobody can stop what's being birthed, because what's being birthed is not contrary to popular opinion, and you can't go by the birth pains that you see, but what's being birthed is not of man, it is of God. So nothing can stop it. And I know many people will take issue because you look at what's going on around. You see the war, you see understand that. But the collapse of anything old, look at the fall of Rome, can be nasty. When you think about it, when you remodel your kitchen, when we were growing up, and I use this as an example a lot of times, when we were growing up and our parents were, my mom wanted a new kitchen in an old house we moved into. And for maybe 3 weeks, watch this, we couldn't use the kitchen. Why? Because they were in the midst of a mess. They were tearing down the old, all the rubbish, all the old cabinets, all the stove, all the sink, everything was just laying in the floor. So they had to tear it out before they clean it up. I want y'all to hear prophetically now. I'm not talking about a kitchen. I'm talking about where we are in this space and time on this planet. Clean it up so that they could move the new into place. So all transition, all birthing, like a natural birth, has some chaotic, bloody, confusing moments in it, but it does not mean, get this, and I want to speak to your life, what God is birthing is not God. Okay? So even if you happen to be going through that chaotic moment and everything is collapsing and everything looks like it's all over the place, cool. That's cool. Because before we can move is death, burial. I don't have time to teach that. And then resurrection. You got to get to the death and the burial, the dirt, the tearing out, the death of the old cabinets, the clutter everywhere, burial, dirt, the moving in the new, resurrection. That is a paradigm of the kingdom. That is a paradigm of spiritual principle. You do not have resurrection without death and burial. Right? It's all connected tonight because this is what's happening. And the reason that I'm prefacing the teaching tonight by that is so you won't look at what's going on in the natural and give all the credit to the devil, opposition. No. What is being birthed on a larger scale. See, look at the larger scale. It is of God. And this message is prophetically helping to position us to make sure that we are in alignment as this birthing takes place. All right, Exodus chapter 1, verse number 6. Share this. Hit the link, hit the button. We're going to get some fancy, like subscribe bells, all them bells and whistles as we grow, right? Now, Joseph, check this out. Joseph and all his brothers, I'm reading out of the NIV, and here, all that generation died. That's key. It may not seem key, but it's key. Watch this. What is it saying? The condition that the generations of Jacob moved into Egypt that existed then, at this point in Exodus 1, 6, and 7, no longer exists. Done. That's key. The existence, the environment, the team, the people that you entered into the season with, do they still exist? Because if not, it could possibly mean things are shifting and they need your attention. Joseph and all of his brothers and that generation died. Finish. What died in your life? Not physically. What used to be there when you entered in that does not exist anymore? It ought to get your attention. I'm not saying the season is over. I'm saying it could possibly, but at least pay attention. This is a very vital passage here. But the Israelites, so the season shifted, new leadership, new Pharaoh, new people. Joseph ain't there no more. I want to focus on the but. But the Israelites were exceedingly fruitful. They saw, come here. Did you share this? Because you need to hear this. They were doing so well. They wasn't studying about seasons. They were studying about productivity and comfort. It says, but the Israelites were exceedingly fruitful. We listen, we doing so well, we don't even, Joseph did? Oh, wow. Pharaoh died. When Pharaoh died? I've been out here making my money. They multiplied greatly, increased in numbers, and became so numerous that the land was filled with them. They were so focused on results. They never probably noticed the shift. As long as I'm getting my money, I don't care who in charge. You better care. As long as I'm getting paid, for now. Oh yeah, I've heard of people just notified on a dime. We're eliminating it. That's how you make it unsuable. We have decided to eliminate your position and go another direction. And when you live in an at-will state, ain't nothing you can do. But did you notice? Why I can? No. St. John, chapter 16, verse 13, when he, the Spirit of truth, has come, he will lead and guide us into all truth and show us. So, but you can't see what the Spirit of truth is showing if your head is buried in current success only, and not being like the sons and daughters of Issachar, discerning the seasons. I'm making the money now, but we got new management, new setup. I got to keep my eye on that because that could change, and I don't want to be caught off guard. This is where Israel were. They were too buried in success to realize Joseph didn't exist and the Pharaoh didn't exist, and there was a king who ain't know them, who didn't owe them nothing, who didn't owe Joseph nothing. It's detrimental to miss signs or to be, like we said in last week, to be in so much denial. Things are changing, but you can't bring yourself to acknowledge things have changed because you don't know what to do next. Yeah, I'm going to keep it real. Straight no chaser right here on Wake Up Global TV. Like this, share this. So here comes to play the concept of where we fall in this global impersonal shift. Is it about destiny or being comfortable? Because sometimes you can miss destiny trying to hold on to comfort. Oh yeah. Teach. I think I will. You can miss destiny because let me keep it real. Let me make it where the goat can get it, as my big brother Coach Butch McAdams used to say. Destiny may pay you 50. Comfort may pay you 150. Destiny has a sense of grace. Comfort ain't got no great. Comfort is good while comfort lasts. It was good until it wasn't. That's what I say about comfort. Destiny obligates God. Comfort don't. Y'all here? Come on, it's almost Friday. It's Thursday night. Come on. Y'all can handle it. Destiny obligates God. Comfort don't. If I'm in destiny making 50, God is obligated. If I'm in comfort making 250, God ain't obligated. This is what they did not understand in this shift. And I see most people running after comfort. And I'm like, hey, and that's why I explained to you when we first started this, I was running after comfort. Now, this work, but it's destiny, not comfort. It ain't comfort. It's enjoyable. But I explained all of that. This is what Israel did not understand. The Hebrews did not understand. They had been so comfortable under an old regime so long. They make the mistake a lot of people make, thinking, oh, they may have a new manager, but ain't nothing going to change. It might not. But your antennas ought to go up. And when you start seeing them, you shouldn't duck your head in the sand like, I ain't seeing nothing. Remember what I said last week? People that ignore destiny end up having to do the doggy paddle to survive instead of being launched out there already mentally and spiritually prepared. Like this. All it takes is poof, poof. Share. Destiny, here's destiny. Destiny is never, ever comfortable, but it is graceful. People choose comfort over destiny, especially during transition, because destiny is not comfortable. Now, there is a grace that comes with destiny. With comfort, there's an ease. See, destiny is not easy. Comfort is easy. Children of Israel were comfortable. They were being taken care of. They didn't have to worry about nothing. Pharaoh, though they slaves and being abused, like some relationships, at least they had somebody. They ain't have to work hard. Comfort, but there's no grace in comfort. It's ease in comfort. And remember, God is not obligated to us in a comfort level. God is obligated to us when it comes to destiny. And destiny is not always comfortable. Destiny is not easy, but it is graceful. Grace goes further than comfort. Grace goes further than ease. All right, you getting this? Share this. So, what does this gracefulness that is contained in destiny look like? Here's how you can tell. Though I'm challenged, I'm winning. See, that's what Israel didn't want, but they're going to end up getting it because the land, the place God is sending them is already occupied, but I'll get to that. What does this gracefulness around destiny look like? It means I'm challenged. There's stuff there are roadblocks. There's some hindrances, but I'm winning. That's destiny. If there are no challenges, if there's no roadblocks, there's probably not. If it's all conflict, it's all easy. It's all good. No. I got some challenges. I got some roadblocks. I got some things I got to deal with. But guess what? I'm winning because I'm in destiny. Put in there, I'm winning. I don't have to be comfortable to win. Winning and being comfortable is not the same. It's never easy. And that's why Israel missed the shift. The shift was going to cost them something. And I'll get to that. The shift was going to cost them. And they were not willing to pay what the shift was going to cost. Israel wanted ease, and here's the problem with that. It contains no elements of growth. That's why God didn't give us ease. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So we take that as it's going to be, no, that's not the whole context of that everything is going to be easy in life. Everything will be graceful when you take his yoke, which I like better than graceful. It'll be graceful. It'll be the ability to overcome when you take my yoke upon you. But it don't mean it's going to be easy. Hey, if it was going to be easy, everybody would be winning. Everybody would be doing it. It's not who said it was. Take easy out of your vocabulary and replace it with graceful. I got the grace to go through it and end up winning. I have the grace to go through it and I end up winning because I'm in destiny. All right? Israel wanted ease. It contains no growth. There is no growth in ease. That's why God does not give us ease. He gives us grace, because in everything, as we talk about on the Awakening Experience, we are here to grow. Israel was supposed to grow. Anything that doesn't grow is retarded. Healthy, if you've been following me for any amount of years, you've heard me say this 1,000 times. Healthy things grow. Watch this. Growing things, here it is. Change, and here it is. Change brings challenge. Da, 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 da. Israel, keep up, keep up. You can always watch the replay. Israel did like most of us when we found ourselves in a good place. We get, uh-oh. Here's another aha moment. Israel got stuck in a good place, but it was a temporary place. It's easy to get stuck in a temporary place, especially when it's a good place, because most people don't volunteer like Israel to leave a good place. Because remember, it's about comfort, not destiny. See, Israel never volunteered to leave. And we'll get to that. Sometimes we don't volunteer because it's good. Forget destiny. I like right where I am. I'm making the right amount of money. I got the position. It ain't destiny. I got the power. It ain't destiny. I ain't going nowhere. I understand destiny, but this got to be God. This got to be God, because we going to make stuff God. If it fit us, oh yeah, it's going to be God. God told me. Until they change leadership and they start demanding, they don't know who you are, they don't care who you are. They start demanding that you do things. Can I make it plain that you weren't doing before? Till they extend your job description and your plate runneth over. Now you second thinking. You still cool? You still good? Just want to make sure you're still good with this new arrangement. Because remember, I closed last week by saying, anytime the original agreement changes, it's a sign. Unless it's a two-party agreement. But when one party changes, it's a sign. Without consulting, it's a sign. Like this. Bam, 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 bam. So Israel, they struggled to move. You know why? Because they got stuck in a temporary place that was good. Now, I'm not saying it's easy to walk away from a temporary place that's good. Who don't want good? Who don't want comfort? So I'm not downplaying comfort. But to everything that's not destiny, it'll come to an end. Jeremiah 11. God, you say why? Has already declared our end from the beginning. The steps have already been pre-ordered. And I could go on. We were chosen from the foundation of the world. So they got in this temporary place of Egypt, and the reason they ended up there was only for the famine. They weren't supposed to come there to live forever. But it got good. But it was temporary. And then the Spirit said, time to move to the next dimension of what I called you. When I called Abraham, gave my covenant to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I said, I will show you a good land. This ain't good. It's good to you, but you in bondage, you slaves, this ain't what come in. This ain't what I saw. And until we where God saw us, we ain't there yet. He said, this ain't what I promised your forefathers. That's not what I saw When I called Abraham out of Ur that night and say, look up, and said, leave, and I will show you where to go, and you will be the father of many, and you'll have your own land. This Egypt ain't what I showed you. But I know it's good. It's comfortable. You know, that's one of my challenges that as a spiritual coach and advisor to people, that's one of the greatest challenges I have to monitor. That when I'm trying and called and see to stretch people, that they give excuses of why they can't do, because you're comfortable. You're comfortable. And I just be honest. Maybe pray for me. I'm challenged dealing with comfortable people, especially when I see where God is trying to put them. And they got some excuses. You know, okay, I'm not ready for that. Okay, I get that. Next month, I ain't ready for it now. 6 months, I ain't ready for it now. A year, I ain't ready for it now. And then you look, and they stuck right like Israel. How many times you gonna go around this mountain? I don't have time to go around this mountain with you. I'm not here to go around mountains with you. I'm here to help us go to the next dimension. I'm not here, right? Because most people get stuck out of fear. And we talked about that last week. So until I'm where God saw when he said, I ain't there, no matter how good it is. Share this. Hit the subscribe. Watch the replay. For those of you watching the replay, all right, a few more minutes, then I'm going to shut it down for the night. We got plenty of time. Comfort is never about comfort. It's about destiny, and destiny will never be comfortable. It'll be graceful. God is obligated to making sure we fulfill destiny. And so what sometimes looks like opposition, attacks, not necessarily. All right, take Judas. Judas had a role. Judas' role was to get Jesus to destiny. Yeshua had to fulfill what was spoken over his life. Isaiah 3,000 prophesied it. Well, no, now, y'all follow me. This is just my opinion. Nobody would just volunteer say, you know what, I've been sent here. Now, he said, send me, but there had to be an apparatus to manifest it. Judas was one of the apparatus to manifest destiny. Joseph's brother, it looked like Joseph was being persecuted. Come on, y'all. But it's because of Joseph's brothers selling him to the Ishmaelites, being brought by Pharaoh, betrayed by Pharaoh's wife, Potiphar, rather, ending up in jail, interpreting. Do you see? That ain't no comfort, but he's on the road to destiny. I don't know where we get this stuff from. And it took all of that to get him in a place where he says, when he finally meets his brother in Egypt, his brothers in Egypt, he says, don't stress. See, he released them from the guilt. This had to happen because my destiny was to go before you to preserve a posterity. That if you wouldn't have did all of that, I wouldn't end up being here and y'all would have died. So sometimes what looks like an attack is spirit saying, roll out, make the shift, Things are changing. Adapt. Be pliable. Stop being stuck, because the seat is about to get hot. And I can prophesy to you tonight, the seats are about to get hot for those who won't change, because everything is going to be changing. Everything is changing around us. And those who say, like the children of Israel, where the leeks, where the onions, where the garlics, things about to get hot. So hence, every spur of opposition is not the devil. Sometimes it's a time clock alerting us, being time is up. Time is, but go back to where we started. If we're so busy multiplying, and we're so busy prospering, and we're so busy getting ahead, that we don't even notice that Joseph and all that generation are dead, and that circumstances and environments have changed. We're caught. We're thrust out in the middle, like I said last week, of the ocean, unprepared, existing in survival mode, looking for somebody to lay hands on us and bring deliverance, when all of that's not even necessary initially. All right. 2 more minutes. Here's the caveat. To move from a temporary place of comfort into the abyss of fulfilling destiny, it will require a tremendous amount of faith. That was Egypt's problem. That becomes a lot of our problem. Let me say that again. The caveat, moving from comfort to destiny, is to move from a temporary place of comfort into the abyss of fulfilling destiny will require, demand a tremendous amount of faith. Which means in that shift, in that transition, here it is, and I'm going to break it right down real simple. There's just some things we ain't going to know, and that poses a problem to the average human mind. There's just some things you ain't going to be able to Google. There's some things AI don't even know. And that's the gap between comfort and destiny. There's some things that, guess what? You ain't gonna know, because it'll demand a tremendous amount of faith. What did I just say? Jeremiah 11. God declares the end from the beginning. They don't say nothing about the in-between. That's where a lot of y'all stuck. You want the details. You want God to make it make sense. You can't use that on God. Use that on your people. God ain't obligated to make it make sense for you all the time. God said, trust me. That's why you got to be connected to the Spirit. That's why you have to read the signs. That's why you have to understand what you ought to do and what time it is. All of that is connected. It's hard to move by faith when you like Israel. You're multiplying, you're growing, you're prospering, you're successful. You ain't studying the Spirit. You ain't studying spiritual things. All I'm doing, I'm making money. Then Spirit say things about to shift. You don't know, because you're still making money. You still making money till you ain't. Then you want to blame it on the devil. Devil attacked me. Devil persecute me. when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will show us, and I'm paraphrasing now, things to come. But every now and then you got to look up from the plate of prosperity, wealth, achievement, and he that has ears to hear, let them hear what the Spirit is saying. Not what social media is saying. And that's one of the sad things about this young lady in Zimbabwe. But I'm going to get to that. Now, 1 minute over. All right. God tells us the end from the beginning, but the scary part can be the part he leaves out, and that is the process. And I close with this. Abraham, leave your father's country and go to a place. Here's the thing. Not, all right, Abraham, leave Ur of the Chaldeans, put in your ways, Mount Moriah. I'm just giving it. And I want you to stay at Mount Moriah for 30 days. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to send you. He left out all that. Come out. Once you come out, I'll give you some info. I'll give you a little bit of information, because the whole process is I need you to trust me, because every level demands another dimension of faith. So where do I get that dimension of faith to occupy the next level? In the process. The process is a faith journey. It's a faith builder. Because every dimension requires another dimension of faith. Well, how do I develop that faith? In the process, from there to here. So if I never move, I never develop faith, and I just stay comfortable. Because faith ain't comfortable. I'm sure Abram was tripping. Go where? I mean, now I'm at my father's house. It don't get no better than that. You want me? Wait a minute. First of all, I go where and do what? Oh, but you ain't gonna tell me, right? You just gonna tell me to leave my comfort level to go to destiny, but you ain't gonna show me the process? No, because in the process of leaving and in that middle part of unknowing, you will develop and build faith that will cause you to conquer and thrive and survive and win in your next level. That's how that thing works. That's how that thing works. That's why we don't get all the details, because there would never be no development of faith. And every level of divine growth demands another level of faith. So where do you think you get it from? Knowing everything? No, because you don't have to trust God when you know everything. And that's where I end tonight. That has most people stuck. They love God, but wait a minute, God, you telling me to leave this 250? Wait a minute. Now, okay, I tell you what you do. And sometimes this will happen. You open a door, show me where I'm going to go, and I'll leave. Now, of course, I'm talking about informed action, not just off the cuff, unthought of. I'm talking about people that hear God. See, again, I'm talking to people who are connected to the Spirit. Not presumption. I'm not talking about presumption. I'm talking about you know this is God. You know it. But it don't make sense. But what you don't know is what God is setting you up for. That you can never get to unless you make that first step. Father, with so many people looking at the replays, so many people watching live, it's so awesome that you can minister to all of us at the place and point that we are in life. Thank you for your dynamic work through tonight's Life Alive. Thank you for breathing new life in Rhema, truth coming alive. In Jesus' name. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you're learning. I'm just trying to make it as plain as possible, not to sound deep, but to help us prophetically, as smooth as possible, go through what's happening on a global level and in our personal life. Again, I want to say, as I say every week, if you're being blessed, it's not robbery for you to consider sowing seed into our ministry, into the work, but more importantly, into the good ground if you're being blessed by the word. Those giving apparatuses are on the screen, and we want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for your sowing. No seed is too small. It's a matter of the heart. Giving is always a matter of the heart. Of course, on our end, the more the better. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. But when it comes to a spiritual gift, it's a matter of the heart. So I am going to pray and ask that you pray about what you should and if you should sow seed. Maybe not every week, maybe put us on a monthly budget, bi-weekly. But whatever you sow, we appreciate it. It is blessed because it's in great ground. Make sure you share, make sure you like, make sure you hit the subscription. We are always uploading, if not from me, from other content creators, new content on Wake Up Global TV. I want to say thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. And until next week, this is D. Foster 3 saying, trust God is worth it. Peace.